Hello, Happy New Year. Or Scots, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try Scottish Gaelic. Mbliana Bhaor. That means Happy New Year. What are some things that highlighted this past year for you, and what are you looking forward to in this coming year? My personal highlight from the past year was my trip to Great Britain. It was the first time I have ever left the States, and we ended up hitting 3 countries on our trip. We had a layover in Ireland, and we did Dublin for a few hours, and then we went straight to Edinburgh. We did Stirling, Glasgow, London, Windsor. That was just a dream come true for me. My favorite part of the trip was the time we spent in Edinburgh, and I say this all the time, but I left a piece of me there. It is a beautiful city. It's wonderful, and yeah, that was just amazing. So in this episode for today, I'm going to do a little bit of a New Year's Eve look. What did you do for New Year's Eve? Don't mind my cat who's clawing at my bed again. So I did a little bit of that latte look, but for New Year's. So, usual, the products I used are listed down below. I'll talk about them and I'll say a few of them throughout. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe or consider subscribing and giving this, if it's something you like, give this video a thumbs up down below also. And I am also on Instagram under the same name. On that note, let's get into it. I'm just gonna go in. We're gonna do a little bit of a New Year's Eve look. I want to do like that cafe latte eye makeup that was big this year, but a little bit of a New Year look to it. In this episode, we are going to be talking about Hogmanay in Scotland. This is a holiday that is special to Scotland. The word Hogmanay may have come into the Scottish language from French, Gaelic, Flemish, or Ancient English. It's a Scots word for old year, and it runs hand in hand with the New Year. It's also followed by celebrating the morning of New Year's Day, and sometimes January 2nd, which is now a Scottish bank holiday. Hogmanay origins aren't for certain, but it is believed to have come from Norse and Gaelic. The belief is that it leans more towards the Vikings, who invaded in the early 8th and 9th century. It may have derived from observance of the winter solstice. So I just first went in with Brule all over my lid, and now I'm going in with my Malt just in the crease area, just for my transition shade. So the word Hogmanay was first recorded in a Latin entry in 1443. I'm also just looking for a brush. Bear with me. I don't think I want that color, did I? It was written as, I'm not even going to attempt to say this, but I'm going to put it in here, the spelling. Your guess is about as good as mine. Right now, I'm just going to go in and start creating that like halo look with MAC Cork. This is such an old one, but it's a good one. So it was written as that word that we just saw. in the West Riding of Yorkshire. The first time it was seen in Scots was about 1604 as Hogmanay with an A in the records of Elgin. It also may have been introduced to Middle Scots from the French. So, like I said before, it may have come from French, Gaelic, or Norse. It's thought it originally... I'm just going in now with... I just did Cork as my, like, halo, but just lightly applied it to, like, the middle of my lid, right in here. And now I'm going in with MAC Espresso. We're really sticking with the coffee theme for this. To just deepen that halo a little bit more. So I'm just applying in the corner, inner and outer, and then I just kind of blend to meet them both. And then I'm going to take that same color. Sorry, this is so hard to like. There we go. Apply. I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. I'm not doing a liner today. I'm going to try it with not doing a liner. So it's thought that it originally came from the Norse as a celebration of winter solstice, and it included the Gaelic celebration of Samhain. My daughter and I argue about the pronunciation of that all the time. Vikings celebrated Yule, and that later became part of the 12 days of Christmas. This was also referred to as the Daft Days in Scotland. Meaning, well, they didn't... I'll get there. I'm not going to do a spoiler. It's just finishing up my lower lid. Again, if you watched another video with the lower lid, I just go in the corner, heavier pressure, lighter as I get out to in the middle to blend. So before the Reformation in 1560, we're going to remember back to Mary, Queen of Scots, and the religious upheaval that was making its way through Scotland. So before that, Christmas was a religious day, but Scottish Parliament passed a law in 1640. So this is after Mary has gone, James, her son, is gone. Scottish Parliament passes a law in 1640 that made celebrating Yule illegal. So that was held on to for nearly 4 centuries, so 400 years. And it was lifted, and Christmas became a national holiday again in 1958 in Scotland. Hogmanay was also celebrated in the north of England, as far down as Richmond. While I'm on this, I'm a little... What are we going to use? We're going to use... No, you know what we're going to use? So I'm actually going to go for a throwback today and use Glistening from Anastasia's Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Soft Glam. This is old as hell. But we're going to use it. I'm going to use Glistening just in the middle. So I already did like a little bit of a brown base. Just going to add this on top. And just to deepen that like brown, it's a little bright for that latte look. So I'm just going to go in. I am going to go in with Cinder from the Sultry Anastasia palette. I haven't used these in so long. Oh yeah. So as you can see, I'm just like pressing that color into my lid. I lied. I might be doing a liner. I don't know if I can't. I feel weird not doing one. So I'm just pressing. Again, this is when you're using a glittery shadow. I'm just gonna come in a little bit because it's hard to see. When you're using that, don't mind the other color on the other side. You're pressing in with that glitter, because if you swipe with it, it's going to remove the pigment. It actually just brings it with it, the brush does. In Northumberland, it's known as Hogmanay. In Cumberland, and Hogmanay or Hogmanay in North Reading in Yorkshire. So now I did completely lie. I'm gonna go in with a flat brush and soot from MAC. That's what I'm using. And I'm just gonna do a light liner with the shadow because I don't want that harsh line of the liner. So I'm just a little stipple in there. So that gives it more of that liner look. You can see the difference there. And if you ever like go too heavy, like if you're doing this, you can always go back in with your previous brush that had your other shadow color on it, like I just did, and just press it, and it kind of covers it a little bit. So, or to mute it if you want, but. So customs for Hogmanay vary throughout Scotland. They include gift giving and visiting friends and neighbors. Big one is called first footing, which starts immediately after midnight. And this is when the first person who enters your home after midnight is given gifts such as salt, coal, shortbread, whiskey, and black bun, which is a rich fruit cake. The gifts are meant to bring different kinds of luck. Food and drink are given to guests, and this can go through early morning hours and into the next day. So I'm just going on with my House Labs foundation. This is supposed to set the luck for the rest of the year. Additionally, tall, dark hair men are preferred as the first footer. I'm going to give you a little, in case you read books, if you like to read books, Jolie Vines writes amazing ones. She has a book. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's Hunted. Might be Hunted. But Gabe is a first. She talks about this a little bit, and that completely describes the Gabe, the character in it. Anyways. So depending on where you live in Scotland, the customs may be different. For example, in Stonehaven, which is in the northeast, fireball swinging is a custom. I'm just going through with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Just to brighten. Also, Ulta was out of the... No, it was Ulta. Yeah, it was either Ulta or Sephora. It was out, so I had to get the tiny version. The people would make up balls of chicken wire with old newspaper, sticks, rags, and other dry material. And the balls were usually 2 feet in diameter and attached to a 3-foot long wire, chain, or rope. And when the bells rang in the new year, the balls were set on fire. And the swingers would walk up the street swinging these fireballs around their heads, which they do a torch. I don't know if anybody saw it, but Edinburgh still does a torch ceremony, and they had one yesterday. So actually, this will air. This comes out on Tuesday. So Sunday night they did that, and I watched it. It was really cool. And one year I'll be there for New Year's Eve for Hogmanay. So when it was done, when they were done with the fireballs, they'd put them in the harbor. And this is still done. And more entertainment has been added to it. In and around Dundee. Now I'm just going in with my Sunset Blush Balm in Rosa from Vive for my blush. I might build this up a little bit darker, only because we're doing like a New Year's look and it's not daytime, so let's do that. I love this color. I think my next one would be Pesca, which is a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go in a little bit more. I've noticed some people are going in heavy with the blush recently. Is this a trend I'm not like aware of? And if I'm not getting on that bandwagon. I don't like it. I think it's too much, in my opinion. So in and around Dundee, first footers carried a decorated herring. In Falkland and Fife, men marched in torchlight. Ooh, I forgot I wrote this. Look at this. I just talked about this. In a torchlight procession to the top of the Lochman Hills as midnight came. In St. Andrews, bakers would make special cakes for Hogmanay celebration. It was known as Cake Day, and the bakers would give the cakes to local children, which is adorable. I don't know if they still do that. If you know if they still do that, can you just comment and let me know? I think that's so cute. An old tradition in the Highlands. I'm sorry. If you don't know by now, I have ADHD. I just went in with the Vive Nova Glow Liquid Light and in Holy Chic. Holy shit, I almost dropped that. An old tradition in the Highlands is to celebrate with Seining, which in Scots means protecting blessing of the household and livestock. So basically on New Year's morning, the homeowners would drink and sprinkle magic water from a dead and living ford around the house. The term dead and living ford refers to a river ford that is routinely crossed by both the living and the dead. The water is sprinkled in every room. I'm just going to blend that out a little bit more. I have a little too much. So the water is sprinkled in every room of the house and on all the beds. And after the house is sealed up tight, branches of juniper were set on fire and then carried around the house. So if you do sage, this does sound a little bit like that, like a cleansing. However, it's not. The smoke is allowed to smoke out the house until everyone is sneezing and coughing. Then all the doors and windows are opened to let in fresh air, which sounds like you need an inhaler. Just gonna highlight a little bit above my lip. And that's it. With Vive Skin Dew, I'm waiting on my Shipment to come in tomorrow. Woohoo! Then all the doors are, like I said, all the doors are opened. All the fresh air is let in. The woman of the house gives a restorative from the whiskey bottle, and New Year's breakfast is served. I'm just going to go in lightly with a little bit of my Vive powder. Just to mattify a little bit. And I'll be right back. So not from medieval times, but this started around the 19th century. Before I do that, I'm going in with my House Labs La Monster Lip Crayon in Rose Matte. The custom of singing Auld Lang Syne has become popular in a lot of countries. Auld Lang Syne was written by Robert Burns. He was a poet from Scotland. And it's a common tradition to sing this in a circle with your arms. Don't talk. So it's a common tradition to sing it in a circle with your arms linked across each other. So cross like this, but holding on to the next person as the clock strikes midnight. So I'm going to jump off real quick and do a little bit to my hair. I'll be right back. So just some fun facts for this episode. Fire, so the fire torch or the fire balls. Fire symbolizes the cleansing of the old year and welcoming in the new year. So I hope that you had a great new year. I hope your Christmas was great. We're bringing in 2024. Do you have any plans? That's all I have for you today. I'll catch you in the next one. So have a great week. See you next week. Bye.